Hello and welcome back to Chair Shot Wrestling Podcast. We are here from Moonlight Studios. As always, I'm your host, Steve O'Mac, and I'm here, not on my own, but with Dino the Truth.
Why is crack-a-lacking, Steve-O?
I'm good, Dino. I'm good. It's been another good week of wrestling. We have got a lot to talk about.
It has, Steve-O, but before we continue, I must say to our loyal listeners, please, if you haven't already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. And we're also on Spotify, we're on Apple Music, and we're on Amazon Music as well. So please, we appreciate the support, guys, and we hope you like what we're doing. Let's crack on with the show.
Okay, let's get into it. We're talking about SmackDown Friday night. There's only one place to start. I think it's got to be Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn.
It has to be, Steve-O.
Gunther. This little trio of whatever's going on here.
It's finally starting to make a little bit of sense, though, 'cause we've been confused, haven't we?
It is, mate.
Yeah. I mean, I'll start off the cuff what I feel, if that's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel now like it's kind of like Sami Zayn and Cody, that part of it. Appears to me, it's like we've all been in that situation. Everyone grows up a little bit in life. You know, they get past their 30s and they sort of start figuring out who people are in life and who things are. And sort of like your mates go off and they do certain things, and whether it's careers, whether it's girlfriends. And there's this sort of this jealousy element going on with it. There's them certain, you know, the people that, oh, he's doing better than me, he's doing this, you know, and people, it upsets. There's certain people that, you know, it triggers, doesn't it? And they're sort of playing on that. And I think everyone can sympathise with that because they've either had that jealousy feeling themselves or they've had that towards them. Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of like it's a feeling, you know, so it's a human nature feeling. So I think they're going off like real life and that. And I think, yeah, which we like in WWE, don't we? So
yeah, I think Sammy's character always comes across as quite, yeah, it's a hot Sunday afternoon. Sammy's character always comes across as quite believable. I think like whenever he's played this character where he's kind of, he's indecisive, he's in between, he doesn't know what the right thing is to do. He's got this gimmick now that he's the, what is it he calls himself? The last real good guy.
Oh, Sammy, yeah.
And I think that does come across whenever he's cutting promos. It does come across. He's very good at selling that he's tried to do the right thing, even if it hasn't turned out to be the right thing. And as you say, that when you build that into friendships and stuff, it feels like Cody's now just got to a point where he's just like, yeah, I get that. And I know you're trying to do the right thing, but you're just turning into a bit of a whiny bitch, really. That's kind of, you know, to paraphrase a little bit, that's sort of what he said to him.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned it last week, and I'm going to add to it, that it's like, I'm enjoying Cody Rhodes now. He's becoming more of a believable face and he's getting the crowd behind him, because instead of being this proper goody two-shoes here, we sort of saying, well, you know, like it's that thing that happened with Gunther when he's like, well, you know, it's a wrestling match. Well, have you never won a wrestling match like that? Stuff happens. It's a fight. It's like all fair in love and war sort of thing. And he's just sort of like being a realist, and he's sort of like being like the man. Well, you know, if you don't like it, I'll give you another shot. And I think that's like a bit of that badass character, you know, that we're like enjoying, because people, let's be honest, everyone gets bored with the goody two-shoes shit, don't they? You know what I mean? Because people like to believe in someone that's a realist, and that's like real human emotions like we're going on still, like we said, going back to that again.
Well, let's get into the promo itself then. Before we talk about the dialogue that happened between Cody and Sammy, there was a really important bit that happened right at the start of the show that I noted down. And I think this is going to be something that is going to tie in, it's going to tie this whole Cody, Sammy, Jey Uso bloodline story. I think this could
a lot going on, isn't there?
Yeah,
and it's going across both brands. If you
getting
notice,
complex now, right? Which I like, right? Because for me, I like to be able to work something out, right? As long as I can see it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm in a better place, I would say, today with the whole bloodline, Cody Rhodes and Gunther's storylines, than I was last week. Definitely. This show starts off. Cody's walking in, and the first two people that he sees is Jey and Jimmy Uso before he even goes out to talk to Sammy. And they kind of greet each other, and you can see that they're a little bit weary of each other, but ultimately there's a bit of respect there still. And Jey is doing this thing now, like, you know what we were saying last week, that we don't really know what Jey's character is at the minute. So Jey's almost like doing a sort of a bit of a heel move, really, on Cody, just saying to him straight away, you know, I'm just letting you know, I've got my 4-way match tonight. I'm going to win it. I'm going to win the whole tournament. And at SummerSlam, I'm coming for that WWE title.
Please, God, that don't happen, personally.
He didn't say he was coming for Cody. He said he was coming for that title. But Cody's response was really interesting here. So Cody's response was, okay, fair enough. No one deserves it more than you. But I hope it's your decision to come for the WWE title and not Roman's decision. Right?
Oh,
and I think that was actually really clever. Whoever's the writer on SmackDown, for me, seems to be getting it right, because that just planted a little seed that perhaps Jey Uso is not going to, if he does win the King of the Ring, this is presuming, that he's not necessarily going to follow Roman's orders. And let's remember, whoever wins the King of the Ring tournament gets a choice. It's the same condition as when you win the Royal Rumble. You can go after either belt. So there's no reason why Jey Uso couldn't actually turn on Roman and challenge for Roman's belt. It's a clever little seed. It's got me thinking. It's a clever little seed. But I liked it. I liked the opening there. I thought, okay, that's good. Yeah. But they're not giving us any more than that at the minute. Just a little seed planted. When Cody eventually comes in and he has his promo with Sami, I thought this was a really, really good promo between the two of them. Again, Sami Zayn comes across really well for me. He's talking about, trying to do the right thing. When I didn't help you, you moaned. When I did help you, you moaned. And then Cody just sort of has enough, doesn't he? He just loses it at one point.
Yeah.
And I think
it's when he slapped him, when it was the slap that done him, it was like that.
Yeah,
so.
well, I think even before that, right, Cody went off on him when he was sort of just saying to him, look, let's get real about this. Yes, we're friends. Yes, we've been through a lot together, but ultimately it's about this belt. He said to, all of this stuff that is coming out of your mouth at the minute, it's all about this WWE belt. And he just said, and Sami, I have to apologize to you. He said, I'm sorry that you will never be champion because I've got the belt. So he's basically saying, Sami, you deserve it. You deserve your flowers. You've been a good guy. You've been a great company man. But ultimately, I've got this belt and you ain't never beaten me for it. And then that's when that first slap happened.
Yeah.
And then you could see what was happening with Cody, couldn't you?
He sold it well. He was thinking sort of like that. Like the initial thing would, if your friend did slap you in a pub, you'd be like, hang on a minute, it's my friend. I want to go at him here, don't I? He thought about it. He's wrestling with his head for a while.
Especially as Sami was apologising.
Yeah.
But then ultimately, what happened, Dino?
Cody then slapped him back. Yeah. So then it was like the sort of thing, well, we're even now. You slap me, I'll slap you, Like, it's like, what they call it in the wrestling business, Steve, a receipt.
A receipt. He got his receipt. And that's in my notes.
Yeah.
Sami got his receipt.
I know, Steve, because we think the same. We've talked about this before.
Question for you then, right? Would Cody have done that 12 months ago?
No. I don't think so, no.
I think he probably would have forgiven him. He would have done this whole thing of like, okay, yeah, maybe I went a bit too far, Sami. Sorry, emotions were high. So again, we're getting little glimpses, aren't we, of this Cody character.
You got to remember, if you're talking about long-term storytelling, I mean, like, you're talking about Randy Orton turning on him. This is his long-term mentor. He's probably his best friend in the industry. In life, if you have to look at this in real life, and then we're trying to base it on real life. If you had a friend that was like your best friend and you trusted him more than anything, and he turned on you and you had this bad experience, you would be a lot more bitter around your other friends, and you'd think, oh, well, what's his intentions? What's this? And it would change your mindset a little bit. It would change anyone's mindset to be like, more wary around people and stuff like that, and think, well, I'm not going to take this anymore. So it's playing into that real life again, So that makes sense to the change of Cody's character, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, who would blame him?
Yeah, that's it. Exactly that. So it's kind of like you might not, those people that still like Sami might not like that, the fact that he's hitting back, but look, it adds that little bit of realism to it. And then it sort of all ties in nicely with what's happening with the match that's scheduled for next Friday SmackDown, where the world title's on the line. It is Cody versus Gunther, and Gunther gets to set the stipulation that ties in nicely with a story that happened a week or so ago where he was threatening to sue. Was it Nick Aldis? It's Nick
Yeah.
Aldis, isn't it? Yeah, because he brought him over to SmackDown. He feels he's been mistreated, and you said it was like such a shit heel move. Like, I'll get my lawyers involved, shit him up a little
Especially
bit.
because he is bigger than all of them and
Yeah.
stronger than all of them, and he still like has to hide behind lawyers and that. You know what I mean? He's that classic share move where you think, well, you know what I mean? You're bigger than both of them. Why do you need to hide behind you? It's just heel 101, isn't it? Really, let's be honest.
And so he gets to pick the stipulation, and what he's chosen is that WWE referees are not to be trusted because he got screwed in that match at Clash in Italy. He had his foot under the rope. The referee didn't see it. It ties in nicely. Who does he choose? Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is the special guest referee for the match. Cody's had the argument with him. Cody now doesn't know how he stands. Is Sami going to be 50-50 down the middle? Or is he going to sway more towards Gunther? I think it's a good story. I like where they've gone with it.
Do you know it was great as well? It added to it because then afterwards he sort of like, it was like Sammy sort of probably heard half the conversation. It sounded like he was talking shit about Sammy because he heard him saying, well, my emotions are all over the place and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he's even added to it because he's like, oh, well, my emotions, he even said here, well, my emotions are all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm emotional wreck. What am I going to do? So it's very clever because now Sammy's probably thinking, well, he's talking about me. So it's like the paranoia. He's already a little bit paranoid and his paranoia is just growing, isn't it? About his friend Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. So that's something to look forward to, I think, next Friday.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to see a title change, but we're definitely going to see something happen. I don't think this is going to be. I don't think this is going to be a straightforward again. Gunther versus Cody. Cody gets the win, and we all move on. Because I just still feel like that would have been a complete and utter waste of time
100%.
for Gunther. So it makes me excited to think that something might happen. Something could happen here. Okay, so in terms of matches for SmackDown, really, mate, we've only really got 2 matches that we need to cover. The 2 matches that were important in this episode were the final women's Queen of the Ring 4-way and the men's King of the Ring 4-way. So we'll just briefly talk about the women's one. The match was great. We had Sol Ruka, Lyra Valkyria, Jade Cargill, and the Queen Charlotte Flair. Decent match. Charlotte gets the victory. Looks really strong. We was talking about her last week.
I said Charlotte needs, I think
still
it's time
got something
Charlotte
to offer.
And I think it's time she gets pushed a little bit more because I know the crowd was getting a little bit bored for a couple of years ago, but they've sort of kept her out of the limelight now for a good year or two, and I think another run would be good. Because let's be honest, yeah, she has had a lot of title runs, but she's a phenomenal athlete and a phenomenal wrestler, and she's the daughter of the greatest of all time. And we was just talking about the GOAT gets thrown around too often in the term, but Ric Flair probably is the GOAT, in my opinion, anyway. But let us know if you don't think Ric Flair's the GOAT in the comments. We'd like
Who's your GOAT?
Yeah.
But also, she, to be fair to her, mate, she could have a claim quite easily. 5 years down the line, she would be claiming to be the GOAT of women's wrestling.
Well, how many titles? She had 14, and she was something mad. Like.
And it would be it'd be difficult to argue against it.
Yeah.
I mean, when she came back, she had that bit of time out, didn't she? Was she out for about a year, wasn't she, or more?
Something like that, yeah.
A bit of an injury. And I remember that first show when she came back in before WrestleMania 41 with the Tiffany Stratton feud.
Yeah,
mate, she was getting booed out the building. I mean,
yeah.
Seriously, they wouldn't even let her talk to the point where it looked quite uncomfortable. It wasn't that Miz heel heat that you get.
I think as well. I don't think she was at her best there. I think she was going for a rough time with her divorce. She just got divorced in. She's Andrade. She's trying to rival her dad with title runs and divorces. You know what I mean?
It looked uncomfortable.
But then Tiffany Stratton got a bit real, didn't she? And won the promos and said about, "Are you divorced?" On live TV. Then she tried to put it back with the Lube requires of slitting her DMs or something. You could tell that was real. Sometimes you can proper tell, can't you?
But it feels like she's come through that now. Feels like she's got through that period. It feels like the crowd actually were with her in this match. And it could be a good semi-final match, couldn't it?
Yeah.
So in the semi-final, we've got Liv Morgan versus Charlotte Flair. And in the other semi-final, we've got Io Sky and Raquel Rodriguez. So now we know the semi-finalists. All we've got left to do is a prediction, mate. Who are you going for out of the two semis they're going to happen? I believe one on Monday Night Raw and one on SmackDown. Come next weekend, who are our two in the final?
I mean, like, I'm torn now, to be honest, because I think there's great storylines that could be had here. You're on one end of the spectrum. You've got Liv Morgan and you've got Raquel Rodriguez. And, we said we're doing like the dudes of attitude kind of thing where Shawn Michaels, classic, super kicked Diesel out of the ring for the Royal Rumble. And then they had the big blow up match at Mania. And there's still potential where Raquel could either win it or just come close and lose to Liv and think, screw this, I'm going to go for Liv's title. There's still that. But there's also a great storyline in there where I personally think that Liv Morgan has a great match against Charlotte Flair. I think Dirty Dom will help her, and it'll make Charlotte Flair look really strong because she got a near victory against the champion, which, will be later on for future title shots. But I'm still going with this storyline happens we've been talking about, where it's Raquel and it's Liv Morgan in the final, and Raquel loses, and it's a bit shady how Liv Morgan wins. And then we have a blow up and finally this Judgment Day's done, because let's be honest, who's really into the Judgment Day now? It's been done for a while. But that happens, and you have a big blowout match. One of the pay-per-views, maybe SummerSlam or something like that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the same thing, mate. I feel like Raquel Rodriguez, I can only see her beating Io Sky. I think Liv versus Raquel Rodriguez is probably the better story. If it was Charlotte versus Raquel Rodriguez, again, it could still be a good match because it would be two big women. It'd be two women that, two of the tallest women on the roster. But I still feel like Raquel Rodriguez would have to come out with the win there. Otherwise, it'd be good for Charlotte to win it and then go and challenge someone for a title. But I feel like the better story is with this breaking up of the Judgment Day. I feel that that's the way that we should go with it. So, yeah, I'm in full agreement with you,
All
Dino.
for it.
All for it, mate. Okay, so before we go on to the men's four-way, let's have a little bit more of a chat about how this bloodline story has spilled into SmackDown from Raw. First of all, I just want to. This is just something that I thought of actually during the week. We've been really critical about the bloodline story on Raw and the fact that Jacob Fatu didn't beat Roman Reigns, and now he's had to acknowledge Roman Reigns, and he's more of a lapdog, and it feels like he's not the Samoan werewolf anymore. He's just Roman's lackey, and Jey Uso's sort of trying to even belittle him, although he's not having it off of Jey. He's still pushing him. Could it be? I only thought of this because he hasn't had a match, mate. He hasn't been in the ring since that Roman match. Could it be that the injury that they spoke about that apparently is legit, and apparently they were even considering doing that match completely? Could it be that the injury is a bit more serious than maybe we thought? And
maybe. I didn't think of it like that. That is true.
So because Jacob's injured, they're maybe just limited to what they could do with it.
That makes a lot of sense, because it's a way of keeping him relevant on TV, but he's not got to do the work. Yeah,
exactly that. Because he hasn't really even been involved in anything physical, has he?
No, but he's been good, and he's still over it. But he come out, didn't he? And it's like he tried to tell Solo Sikoa it's time to come home to the real bloodline. He'd have to leave the bloodline B team, I call them, then I know. But the MFTs. But says time to come home, and then Solo proper said to him, you used to be the man. What's happened to you?
Well, he said Jacob asked him to. Well, Jacob first of all said that he'd been sent by Roman to ask Solo Sikoa to come home to the bloodline, and Solo's response to him was, "I'm not going back." It's as simple as that. I'm not going back. And I think he says something like, it's a doghouse or something.
Yeah.
It's a doghouse, and you're just Roman's lapdog. And then he said, what happened to you, man? He said, you used to be a killer. You used to be the guy that everyone was afraid of. He said, and now you're just Roman's lapdog. And then, by the way, how good was Solo in this promo?
He was
best
solid.
I've seen him.
He was solid. It's weird because I was thinking about this earlier. It's like Solo, they were sort of pushing for a while, and he looked like, he was challenging for the world title. He appears to me now to be more of like a manager that still wrestles, but I would say, 80% of the time he's more managing than wrestling. I think because he comes out and he's got like suits and he wears the gloves all the time, and he's got this cool look about him. And he does look like that. He just he's always trying to recruit people and he's coming out to people's matches. It appears to me that the WWE are looking at him more as a manager, but a manager will get involved like later on. But it's weird to me because he's still in his prime, isn't he? He's still a young man, isn't he? So I don't know. Like, it just feels a bit like he's gone down the managerial road quite early. Like,
I'm wondering whether it just allows him like a better opportunity to just develop his character and to cut more promos and stuff. Because, let's face it, we've been talking a lot about Don Callis, haven't we, on AEW, and about how great he's become as a manager. And that's because it seems like to me like Don Callis gets like 5 to 10 minutes now every episode because he's got so many guys. He pops up with this guy and then he pops up with another guy. And there's no coincidence that the more he's been on TV, the better developed his character's become.
Practice makes perfect.
Exactly that. And
Talk about practice, man.
I think with Solo, as I said, this was the best that I've seen him, mate, in a promo. It's the first time. And it was that bit when he got really fired up, when he stopped.
Yeah,
and then
it was
he almost shouted at Jacob. He was saying, you let Roman embarrass you in front of family, as if like that he really, truly cared about that. I thought he was fantastic in this promo. Jacob, again, for me, he's definitely the most interesting character out of all of them. He was so calm, almost like cold. So calm, cold. Not the hothead, not the all gas, no brakes. Calm, almost like he's already thought this through, like he's got a plan in his head.
Yeah.
He knows where he's going. Just simply says to Sikoa, and I noted this down, when I get everything you're saying, he said, but I'm going to stick to my decision, meaning that he's decided that he acknowledges Roman. I'm going to stick to my decision. He said, and if the OTC sends me for you, then I'm coming for you. And then Solo Sikoa again just comes back at him and he's like, okay, fair enough, Jacob, fair enough. He's like, you go and take this message back to Roman. If he wants me to come home, tell him to come and get me himself. And then he just left it at that.
It's pretty badass,
I thought it was a great promo. I thought
That's pretty badass, yeah.
Looking really, really good in this.
Yeah, solid.
Really good. And then a little bit later on, Solo goes to see, we're going to get it right. We're not going to call him Peyton.
No, he's not one of the Iconics.
We're going to call him Royce.
She's a little bit prettier than him, in my opinion. Like, my personal opinion. I'm sure there's a load of girls. He's a bit good-looking dude, yeah. I mean, I'm sure we've got loads of girls that subscribe to this podcast. Well, yeah. But no, Royce and Keys, I apologise. But to be fair, I knew him as Powerhouse Hobbs, so that's why I'll make that excuse,
Yeah. So he's still trying to recruit him, right? So he's had a little chat with him. He definitely wants him in his little group, and he ends up getting involved in a match a little bit later on. So we'll have a chat about that in a minute.
Yeah.
This Fatal 4, before we got that match, and I know that you liked this, LA Knight, how he came across in that promo before the match. What did you want to say about LA Knight, mate?
There was a point, and we spoke about it, like, LA Knight is such a solid promo. Like, it's unreal, And there was even a point where he tripped over himself, but he's such a professional that, like, most people would just go, like we saw it, get edited out in, like, the next day. But he made it work because he sort of went back and went, oh, I'm so amped up about this. He made it part of his promo, which was fantastic. And, I don't want to jump ahead too much because I know we're going to cover the match. But I said this on air, LA Knight, for me, there's a lot of talk. He botches a little bit, and that's why he hasn't been like, in the big world title picture recently when he's so over, and how can he not be in the world title picture and get overlooked by all these people? He, in this match, the energy of his wrestling and the moves he was pulling off were exceptional. There was moves I just thought, this is fantastic, and there was just energy. And I think maybe he does botch sometimes because he does give it his all and he wants to improve and do impressive things. And let's be honest, he's not like a Ray Phoenix build where he's like this little guy agile. He's a big guy, geezer. He's a big bodybuilder character. Well, he's probably never out the gym, so it's harder with a guy with a frame like that to do the more athletic stuff that he does. But he still pulls it off, and he's in his 40s, isn't he? So he's not that young, but he's still pulling off these great moves. And it's like, when they work, and he looked phenomenal in this match. But I thought a few of the guys looked phenomenal in this match we're going on with. I thought Finn Balor, I'm so happy that we got the old Finn back, and he had the arm strap, and he had his classic like blue ties. He come out and done his old entrance music, with the all that. I mean, people love it, don't they? And it's over.
He's had
it's
a beard trim as well.
Yeah, he looked cool. He looked cool.
10 years younger.
He looked ripped as well. Finn Balor looked ripped, didn't he? Like, he looks like that guy. Fuck me. Like, he's almost got less body fat than me, isn't he? No, I wish. I'm joking. But seriously, like, he must have what, like 1-2% body fat. I mean, the guy's shredded, isn't he?
Great shape.
He's in great shape, and he ain't no spring chicken either. He's in his 40s, So, but I thought he was phenomenal. And there's something big coming with Finn, and I really hope so, because I love Finn. I liked his NXT stuff, but I loved him when he come over and beat Rollins as the Demon character at SummerSlam for the title. And it was a shock that he got in the title picture straight away. And it was great, but then he had that injury straight away. But he's never got back to that height since then. But there's something big coming for him in the next year, I reckon, because the announcers just seem to be pushing him so much. Where they're saying, we thought he would have won so many titles by now, but we can tell there's more coming and stuff like that. And they just seem to be pushing him to the moon, and he's so over. So I think that, and he's such a great professional. Can't see him not being the world champion, or at least challenging for the world title in the near distant future. It'd be a crime, wouldn't it? It really would.
Yeah, definitely.
It'd be wasted. They've wasted him for long enough, haven't they?
Yeah, I want to see him involved in something that's a bit more interesting than what he'd done for the last 2 years.
Do you know what I thought?
Judgment Day.
You know what I thought? And it was going back to your question a few episodes ago. How great of a dancing partner would he be for Trick Williams now?
Yeah, I can see him. I think we're gonna finish on that, on Trick Williams, because he's our favourite. So
yeah,
I feel like we always have to
best till last, definitely.
Let's leave the best till last. But yeah, you're right. I can see him being involved maybe in that in a few months' time. But I feel like there might be something slightly bigger than that on the horizon for him. And the only way I see it working is if somehow Cody drops his belt. I think if he drops the belt to Gunther, or if somehow Sami ends up being our champion in a month's time, I could see Finn Balor having a feud with either of those. Yeah. I could see a really good feud with Gunther, because you've got that. It's the perfect story, isn't it? It's the giant against the little guy. Yeah. It's the David versus Goliath story that you. And
he's so believable. He's so believable, Finn, because even though he's a smaller guy, like I said, he's so shredded and he's so fast. You could see him getting one over on a bigger guy. Sort of like Mysterio was back in the day. And I've got nothing but good things to say about Finn. Like, I've always liked Finn.
The story that you would have in that match, mate, would just be that we know how good Gunther is once he gets chokeholds and that locked in and
trying to stay away from him.
Can you catch him? Yeah. First of all, you've got to catch Finn. So, look, fingers crossed. Both fingers crossed for Finn. I really want to see him involved in bigger things.
We want to see the demon come out again, because there's nothing like, I don't want that to get ruined and go all the time, but I got to admit, I love it.
Keep it as a special attraction.
When the demon coming out, as the child in me comes out, it is. I get excited for the demon. I'm not going to lie. It might make me a little bit sad, but you know what? I couldn't give a shit. Call me sad. It's great. I love it.
So this Fatal 4-Way match, mate, it was actually a really good match. We had LA Knight, Jey Uso, Royston Keys, and Finn Balor.
Solid
We've been
match.
saying it. All of these 4-ways, in every single one of them, men's and women's, I think have been decent matches. And it's because they've had individuals that maybe loosely have got a storyline, some of them, but it's not predictable. Right, so Finn Balor has got nothing to do at the minute with any three of the guys that are in this match. Royston Keys is only sort of involved really in the sense that Solo Sikoa is trying to recruit him. And we obviously know that Jey Uso and LA Knight have got a bit of beef with each other. Before the match starts, right, this was my favourite funny moment of the week. So we've been taking the piss out of Jey Uso, the fact that he comes down and we do the endless yeeting, go to an ad break,
Yeah.
you come back, he's still yeeting, he's gassing, he's like,
Yeah.
he looks like you could just blow him over, put your foot on him and pin him 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. You know, it reminds me of
And
like
then, to make it worse, he then goes, I want to roll it back, right? Well, LA Knight played him at his own game, and I just thought it was one of them. I did not expect it in a million years. LA Knight was the fourth one down out of these 4, and he got a massive reception from the crowd. Like you say, they were so into LA Knight, and he's done he's done the thing, and the music goes off, and the announcer's just about to start the match, and the crowd are chanting LA Knight, and he just goes, rolls it back, and his music comes on. He gets on the top rope.
Can I just say, do you reckon that was planned, or do you reckon that was off script? Because I can't imagine the Netflix guys who are literally pushing this Yeet thing, and all the social media videos, the sale of all the sunglasses. I can't imagine them like greenlighting that at all. Do you know what I mean?
He must have had a word with someone backstage in order to have got the music put back on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it was written, fair play to them, because it made me crack up.
Yeah.
It caught me by surprise.
It was almost saying, you think you're over, look how over I am. Do you know what I mean? Like that, you know what I mean? Like,
you're not the only one that can do that, Jay.
Yeah, I'm more over than you.
So that was a really fun start to it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
There was a good bit of storytelling throughout the match, and you've got Finn Balor, who is just unbelievable in the ring at whatever he does. You've got Royce Keys, who's the giant.
He looked solid again, Royce Keys, didn't they? And they put him over strong, didn't they? The 3 of them had to team up on him, and that was a good.
Exactly that, mate. And again, that's a classic story within those kind of matches. The 3 guys that are slightly smaller, realizing that, LA Knight's a fairly big guy, but realizing that we got to get rid of this guy. This guy's a monster. Get rid of the monster, and then we'll sort out our differences. But yeah, look, I mean, even the ending of the match, I sort of was disappointed, but I do sort of get it. It looked like LA Knight was going to win this. It looked like he was on fire. It was almost like if it was a tag team match, it was almost like he'd got the hot tag,
Yeah.
He was hitting his moves. He was doing his thing. The crowd were going mad. And Solo Sikoa hit him with the spike to the neck because he was trying to help Royce Keys get the win.
Yeah.
It then allowed Keys to do his sort of slam on LA Knight. It looked like he was going to get the win. And then Jey Uso, out of nowhere, does, was it a frog splash, I think, off the top onto Royce Keys, who was already laid on top of LA Knight. And then he nicked the win, right? I'm not the biggest fan of Jey Uso. I would have liked to have seen someone else go through. And it was only, and do you know what? And if that first little bit that I spoke about hadn't happened with him talking to Cody Rhodes, I think I would have been pissed at this ending. I would have been sitting here going, what the fuck are we doing? We're giving Jey Uso another push, strapping a rocket to him again. We know where this goes. But it was only because of that promo at the start that I thought, all right, you've planted the seed. And let's watch and see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's just let it play out.
That's a great saying there, let it play out. Yeah, I've got to admit, though, like, I like what you're saying, I'm letting it play out. But me personally, I really wanted Finn to get the win. I mean, and I thought it was coming when he got down the coup de grace. And then, it was a close skit. And then you sort of forgot about Peyton Royce because he had the triple powerbomb done to him. And he was like, Essence of the Shield.
We forgot about who?
Oh, Royce and Keys. I just called him iconic again. Jesus Christ.
So you might get your back on me in a minute, mate.
Sorry,
we're gonna be talking about Ricky Saints.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'll remember this, Steve. I'll remember this. Yeah. Yeah, so I just thought, you made me lose my train of thought now. Nice one, mate. You know what I mean? No, what I'm saying is I really wanted Finn to get a win. I thought he was going to get it, and then we forgot about Royce and Keys. And then, he had the triple powerbomb done, and he's come out of nowhere, back from the dead end. He's sort of like the Undertaker, and he's literally come in and he's broke up the pinfall. And I was gutted because I was hoping Finn. And then the Yeet man, let's go. Yeet, yeet. Oh, wow. It happens again, isn't it? You know what I mean? I suppose we've got to keep the little kids happy. They're going to buy their sunglasses. No one's thinking about us sickos, are they, Steve-O? No one's thinking about the sickos. Someone needs to start thinking about the sicko wrestling fans. You know what I mean?
Right. So, semi-finals then of the men's is now Over versus Dom, which we spoke about last week. And we now know it's Javon Evans against Jey Uso. Now, this was my issue with Javon Evans winning last week. This is why I was so annoyed that they did what they did with him, because I'm looking at a match now and there ain't no surprise for me. They might as well they might as well do what they did with Bam Bam Bigelow back in 1993 and just give him a bye through to the final, right? Because there is no way, and I mean this, right? And I'm telling you now, if Javon Evans beats Jey Uso, I will be sitting here next week, right? And I will shave off my beard.
Oh my God. No, you can't for that.
I will lay my beard on. I'm doing an MJF. I will lay my beard on the line. And I don't need to go to Turkey
King of the Ring versus beard match.
to get a new one.
That's a new one, that is, Steve. That's a new one.
Mate, this is a foregone conclusion for me. Jey Uso's winning that match, and there's no surprise in it. Whereas if you'd have had one of the others, if that would have been Talatonga, who I suggested that they should...
Would have made sense as well, because it would have played into the Bloodline storyline.
Might have had this thing where you're going, okay, Solo's being asked to go back to Raw to rejoin Roman. What if Solo turns up on Raw and he ends up helping Talatonga to beat Jey Uso? How much more fucking interesting would that have been?
It would have been a lot more.
Surely.
Javon Evans, I don't know, he seems like he's getting somewhere, but he ain't a finished product yet, is he? And I'm not that excited to watch Jey Uso and Javon Evans, to be honest. I'm definitely interested in Obafemi against Dirty Dom.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be some shit assery in it.
And that's what I'm saying, because we know that there is a potential for something.
And let's be honest, we all like a bit of shit assery.
Javon Evans has no ties in with Jey Uso whatsoever. He's not part of any storyline. He's got no one that's coming after him that you could feel that would cost him the match. And even if let's say someone costs Jey Uso the match and Javon Evans gets through to the final, can you see him winning King of the Ring? Like I said to you, the guy's won one match in 3 months.
The thing is as well, you want to sell pay-per-views, and I don't know, Dominic Mysterio, Javon Evans isn't a great, you know, like that. You'd probably call that maybe like the co-main event when it was winner at the final of the King of the Rings with the title matches, but it don't really seem main eventy to me. But then again, for some reason, they seem to think he's such a main event character because they keep putting him in these spots, don't they? So I don't really.
In the old days, mate, that would have maybe been a quarter-final match.
Yeah.
Could have had Javon Evans against Jey Uso as a quarter-final. But as a semi-final with what we're trying to do here, I don't get it, because it just convinces me that Jey Uso's going to win that. And what's the point of having a semi-final with no element of surprise, like I said? So that's my little moan over with that one. I'm not going to change my mind, though, mate. I think Dom versus Jey Uso in the final.
Yeah, maybe then as well it plays into the fact that, like, I think something's going to happen in that match. I think Dirty Dom goes on and wins the whole thing, but I think something happens in the match where either Solo comes out and costs Jey the match, or Talatonga, someone from that MFT, or the Bloodline B team, as I like to call them, or maybe even more, something else interesting happen. Maybe Jacob Fatu comes out and inadvertently, like, costs him the match, but it's in a way where you're like, oh, did he do that on purpose? Or was it an accident? Do you know what I mean? Something like that. So he might go for Dom and hit Jey instead. And then there's all this, like, there's this rift in the family and like, what's going on, you know? And then Jacob Fatu come out next week and say, well, I don't work for you. I don't answer to you.
What about this, Dino? What if at Night of Champions, Jey Uso wins the King of the Ring tournament?
Okay.
And at the same time, in a triple threat match, we end up with Cody Rhodes versus Gunther versus Sami Zayn. And Cody definitely don't leave as champion, right? So we're talking, at the end of the night, either Sami Zayn's a champion or Gunther's a champion. Does Jey Uso challenge Sami Zayn after all that they've gone through, after all that they've been through? Does Jey Uso
the Bloodline stuff as well
challenge Sami Zayn, or does he decide to challenge Roman Reigns? Does Jey Uso challenge Gunther? Yes, he's beat him once before, but
I'd hate to see that.
We all know where it ended up, right? Does he look at Gunther and go, I don't want none of that? And then he ends up challenging Roman.
Do you know what? It could be an interesting storyline if he's sort of like, if the bloodline do start to go over to brands, which they appear to be doing, you know, Jey Uso's and the Usos are on Raw and SmackDown every week, and so's Jacob, you know, Roman would be, but he's not there enough. But maybe there's a potential, I'm not saying it's going to happen, that he goes on to beat, like, we give Sami Zayn, we've said he's going to get that short 2-3 month here, pat on the back. Thanks for being such a great company, man. You think he deserves that title run, you know. So if he wins it, it goes into SummerSlam, 2 or 3 months. 2 months, maybe. And then Jey Uso goes on to win. And then you've got this story that it's like, not only is Roman a world champion in the family, so is Jey Uso. So, you know, where Jacob Fatu was the right-hand man, he's now even lower down on the pecking order, thinking, where does he go here? And then he's like, well, we're champions. Maybe something like that happens in the storyline. I think that leads to interesting stories.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that was more like the more predictable one where I thought it was going in the first place. But as I say, just this whole thing of just a chat with Cody and the fact that him and Sami Zayn have got such a past together, and the fact that even him and Gunther have been at each other. Again, it just adds a few little different directions where they could go with it. Ultimately, let's just hope that there's a big enough payoff. Let's hope that we're sitting here after SummerSlam and we're saying that the last 3 or 4 months worth of the whole build from WrestleMania up to SummerSlam has been worth it. And let's hope that we're not disappointed. All right. Okay. There's only one thing that we've got left to talk about. Ready?
Let's do it.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about
Mr. Lemon Pepper Stepper himself, the man, Trick Daddy, Mr. Whoop That Trick. That guy comes out again, absolutely white hot. You couldn't touch him with a fucking set of gloves on. You know what I mean? The guy is unbelievable, you know what I mean? He fucking oozes cool. He comes out, he's got this geezer, this little yachty who my friends keep telling me I'm not into the new hip-hop scene, but apparently he's massive and he seems to keep stepping around. Probably don't need the money, probably just, you know, he wants to be around to Trick Daddy, because who the fuck wouldn't? You know what I mean? This guy, everything he touches turns to gold, and he's just cool. And he's just cool.
So, look, again, he cuts another really good promo. He gets all these little catchphrases in. I'm actually quite liking the little yachty thing. I never thought I would say that because, like, I hated, who was the guy that they brought in WrestleMania? He's so insignificant.
Do you know what it is?
I forget his name. What was his name?
Do you know, oh, he's massive. I don't know. Old school hip-hop. If it was like the 90s, you were talking about Eminem, Dre, Snoop, you know, I love all that, but new hip-hop don't do anything, mate.
Just to put it in perspective for you, this is how insignificant these
people
are.
No, that's going to annoy me.
British wrestling fans.
That's what
we don't know who they are.
No, it's going to annoy me. I need to know. Can you put it in the comment section? Travis Scott. Travis Scott.
Insignificant Travis Scott.
And do you know what it was for me? What I appreciate with the celebrity thing is worked sometimes and sometimes it hasn't. The reason the Lil Yachty thing has worked is because Travis Scott is coming out and he's like, I'm Travis Scott, I'm this now. Lil Yachty just wants to be a fucking part of it and he don't give a shit, you know. He's letting Trick Williams get all the fucking attention. He's like, I'm Trick Williams' manager, you know what I mean? And he's like, come on, Trick, tell him. And he's the hype man for Trick Williams. He's letting his own personal ego out of the way and he's hyping up Trick. Where Travis Scott, it was like, look at me, I've got a world title on, and I'm this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to hit the guy. Lil Yachty's just there hyping the man up. And he said, he went, I'm not here to party tonight. And he's like, come on, you're Trick Williams. Everyone needs you to do this guy. They're paid to see you, man. And he turned it around, didn't he? He turned it around, didn't he? And it was the bit when he was like, oh, yeah, I've lost. But he said, but now I'm fired up. And I'm Mr. Lemon Pepper Sour. And the one thing I love, because another fucking cool motherfucker in this world, Rick James, like, who don't love Rick James? Mr. Give It To Me, Baby, you know what I mean? When he said the classic Rick James fucking thing, you know, because I'm fucking Rick James, bitch. When he said it, I can't remember, a music ceremony, everyone went mental. And he said, I'm fucking Trick James, bitch. Like, how fucking cool was that? Like, you know,
yeah, he's so good. And
Trick James.
I'll tell you this little...
As if he needed another nickname, by the way, but I love it. I'm all for it. I mean, how many nicknames a man need, but I love it.
This little yachty reminds me, and I'm going to go a bit old school here, mate. You might not even know what I'm talking about, but the Slickster.
Of course I know
right?
Slick is, yeah.
Slickster. You know, the hype man, the guy that
Yeah.
bigs his guy up.
He's even got the cane like him, hasn't he? The trick stick. He's got the cane, hasn't he? Like that, yeah. Yes, I
like
see that.
it. I like
he
where we
need the
go
hat
with it.
and everything, and with the
Yeah.
suit. But that's what I mean. When people come in and they're not about themselves, if we become famous, say, I don't know, fucking hell, I brought out a album or something and I become massive. And then they wanted me on WWE. I'd just be so excited to get on WWE because I'd be like, fulfilling my fucking childhood fantasies. And like, what a goal for me. I wouldn't be out there promoting like my new album and that. It'd be like this. And it's like, that's what I appreciate, like a real wrestling fan, that I can tell little Yachty is. And I don't have a problem with that. It's when these celebrities come out and they're just doing it for their Instagram and their ex-followers. And you can tell they're trying to promote themselves. Like, but then sometimes it just fucking works, doesn't it? Like, it really does.
Just because you walk around with a fake wrestling belt on your shoulder, don't mean that you are a genuine wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Little Yachty comes across to me like he knows what this is all about. He knows how to help get Trick Williams across.
He's just happy to be there. He's just happy to be there. He isn't concerned about getting himself over because he's already massive in the music industry, I've been told. So he doesn't need to plug his albums. He's just coming in to be a part of it and live out his childhood fantasies. That's all it is.
Anyway, just coming back to this promo. So he's cut his promo. He gets interrupted by Carmelo Hayes and Ricky Saints. I got it right.
Who that nation, by the way?
It's as we thought. That it looks like they're going to have another match because I've done a bit of research. Carmelo Hayes and Ricky Saints have had 3 matches. They are 1 win each, plus 1 double count-out draw. So this is now the proper number 1 contenders match. And whoever wins is going to obviously get the title shot at Night of Champions.
I'll tell you
Who would you rather him face, though?
Well, I was just about to say this. I'm much more Ricky Saints in my own head is much more over to me than Carmelo Hayes. I like his look more. I like his gimmick more, and I think he's got more going for him. But that being said, I think Carmelo Hayes has got bags of potential, and he's a phenomenal athlete and wrestler. I just think he needs something. It's just like we said, how many of these like African American characters that are like, I'm like cool as fuck, I'm like dripping in gold and that, you know, jewelry and like sort of like rapper like style. It's just been done to death, and I think he needs something like, you know, he can still keep that, but he needs something else that makes him a little bit different, you know what I mean? Just makes him a little bit different and just separates him from the rest of the herd, like Trick Williams, because Trick Williams, you know, he's that character, but he just does it better than anyone else, and he's cool, and he's got his catchphrase. He's just got the catchphrases, he's got his own look, hasn't he? He needs something else special. I just think he needs some character development, because I really like Carmelo Hayes. I think Ricky Saints is just more the finished product for me at the minute than me, you know, he's not finished cooking yet, where Ricky Saints, you know, he's more 90% done for me, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel. So I'd definitely be more excited for Ricky Saints Trick Williams rivalry than over the Carmelo Hayes. But it looks like it's going to be the 3 of them, to be honest. I look like we're going to get some triple threats.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, unless if this match goes to another draw, possibly. But look, you've compared him to The Rock over the last few weeks.
He's 90s, right?
And in Rock fashion, he basically just said, it doesn't matter who wins because I'm going to stomp out the winner.
Not only that, I noticed as well.
Like,
I never
put that to bed.
I never thought of it before. Not only has he got essence of The Rock, he's also, you can tell how influenced he was by Booker T, because he has the same hairstyle Booker T used to have
that as well.
So you can tell he was a big Booker T fan as a kid, which probably makes sense because he ain't that old. I don't know he's in his 30s. So when Booker T was in his prime, like winning world titles on WWE, and he does the bookend, and it's still called the bookend, isn't it? You can tell that's how big of a fan he probably is, because most people, when they take a move over, it's like the Usos do the 3D, but they call it the 1D, so they've changed it a little bit, where he still wants to call it the bookend. So that suggests to me that he's definitely influenced by Booker T. So I think he's a hybrid of Booker T and The Rock for me.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, I think,
Which are two good guys,
two absolute legends in the industry. Can you dig it? Oh, if he starts doing the spinneroni as well, that'll be saying,
I'm not sure if he's got that in his locker. Right. I think we've covered everything. As I say, it's one episode of SmackDown that we're reviewing. There was a lot because the stories have got a little bit complex.
I definitely think, sorry to interrupt you, Steve-O, but I definitely think what I said last week, and you agreed with me, is that it seems to me that because Raw is the sort of flagship show, it's not as authentic. It's like the Netflix people are sort of saying, we want this guy on top, we want this, we want that. And they're a lot more demanding, where I feel like they let the writers in. I reckon it's the old guys. I reckon it's the Michael PSAs. I reckon it's the Bruce Pritchards of the world, you know, and the William Regals that are still in the industry that we love and know their wrestling better than anyone, know storylines, have been around for donkey's years, that are writing this and they're getting left to their own devices. And like for us sicko fans, as I keep saying, that this storyline, and it's definitely for us diehard, you know, nerdy wrestling fans who want to escape from our hard lives and reality of work once a week, it's more suiting us because we couldn't give a shit about Instagram followers. Well, say that, you know, when we get an Instagram, we all care about that. Sorry, guys. We all definitely get, but, you know, we couldn't give a shit about who's got the most Instagram followers and who's this and who's that and who's the most hyped. We just want to watch some good old fashioned wrestling. You know what I mean? So that's why I think SmackDown's been a much more solid product the last few weeks. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. And again, just coming back to what you were saying about how they see Raw still as the big deal. We spoke about it briefly last week, but in the men's King of the Ring semi-final, all four, all from Raw. And in the women's, the only one that is on SmackDown, and she hasn't been on SmackDown long, is Charlotte Flair. Other than that, so 7 out of 8 semi-finalists are Raw roster.
Well, let me just say that sort of strengthens my theory, doesn't it? They're saying, look, I don't really know what's going on because I'm not in the board meetings, but I wish I was, you know what I mean? Great, but it definitely appears to me that you're saying 7 out of 8. It's them going, oh, well, that's the flagship show. We've got to get these. We've got to push our flagship show. And that's the Netflix people getting involved again, and TKO and Netflix getting involved, you know. And I honestly believe that. That strengthens my theory, definitely, I think.
Right, before we wrap it up then, Dino, tell me about your T-shirt.
Got the classic FTR on, baby. You know what I mean? Talk heavy, hit hard. Love FTR, I've got to say. My favourite tag team of all time. I mean, we'll probably do a tag team episode, but loved the New Age Outlaws when I was a kid. But now and then I love the Dudleys, but FTR, I mean, they're just, for me, like, there's a lot of great tag teams now, but I don't know, I just like that classic old school smash mouth style. I love their theme. I won't go into the graphics of that story, you know what I mean, in case there's kids listening again, you know what I mean, with the theme song. You have to go back and listen to that. But yeah, there's something about them, and I'm a massive FTR. What about your team? I loved your team. I'm a bit jealous.
I dug this one out, mate. So this was a I was getting a little bit closer to the camera. So this is WrestleMania 21. Purchased this one out in LA in the Staples Center, and it was. Do you know what? I haven't seen it for years because, like I say, it's been sitting in a cupboard in storage, and I looked at it and I looked at the card. And it was just a reminder, you know what, when they bang on about these 2-night WrestleManias now, and they're like, oh, they're the biggest WrestleMania of all time.
Hate it.
Every year.
I hate it.
Every year it's the biggest WrestleMania of all time, isn't it?
Why don't they do what AEW does where it's like 5-hour pay-per-views? I'd rather a 5-hour pay-per-view than watch it for 2 hours.
Listen to this for a card, right? So, Undertaker versus Randy Orton, legend killer Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle, one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. JBL versus John Cena. Batista versus Triple H. We had Stone Cold Steve Austin and Roddy Piper in Piper's Pit. On the back of my shirt, I've got a list of the full card. Also on WrestleMania 21, Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero, tag team champ versus tag team champ. The first ever Money in the Bank ladder match.
Can I just say as well, what
a card.
What a time it must have been for the writers and the company, because you've got 2 young guys in Dave Batista and John Cena that was sort of like, there was their rise to ascension. And what a time it must have been for the company. You've got Batista on one side, John Cena on another, and there was their first reign. It must have been like both of them at the same time. It'd almost be like having Messi and Ronaldo on the same team.
So anyway, I think it's nice to talk about the T-shirts and stuff, tell people where, you know, what event we were at when we bought them, and, you know, it just gives us something else to talk about, doesn't it?
It's fantastic. I'm loving it. It's nice. Raw needs to up its game a little bit because, you know, we had a great match, Rey Mysterio independent with Chad Gable and that getting involved. That was great. Needs to up its game. We need more wrestling, but AEW been phenomenal every week, even though we said weren't up to its standard, but that's because they just set their own ridiculously high standards. It's hard to follow. It's not because it's a bad show, and SmackDown's been solid. So we've got a lot of great wrestling coming up, and it's been great. It's been great. Like they say, innit? High tides raises all ships. So it's definitely great. The competition's great. You can feel the competition in the air.
Yeah. And look, hopefully we're going to have 2 really good shows out for you next week. We'll have the review of Monday Night Raw and the review of AEW Dynamite. And we're also going to have a bonus video that's coming out that me and Dino recorded last week. It's called the Roster Rumble. And basically, we prove beyond a shadow of a doubt which roster is better from the 2000 WWE roster and the current 26 roster, right? We're not going to give it away, but all I'm going to say to you is we prove without a shadow of a doubt which one is the best. So tune into that one.
I don't want any spoilers.
It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on Spotify. It will be on Apple. It will be on Amazon Music. So if you want to watch that, hit a subscribe now. Give us a like to remind you that when it comes out, it's must watch.
And all I will say is Steve-O did try and pull some dirty Dom shit-assery on me in that competition, and I weren't having it. It went to VAR and it was disallowed. Do you know what I mean? Like, but you got to tune in to watch it.
Okay. Right. As always, remember, nobody talks smack like Dino and Steve O'Mac.
And that's the truth.
See you next time.